Chapter 2, Judy and Quantico. Judy Hunnsicker thought that her interview might have gone well if only because it had run past schedule, with the UV team facing instant obsolescence at the arrival of an obscure branch of Homeland Security not many people knew existed. Judy consulted Bob Henderson on her next career move. Bob enthusiastically recommended the FBI's Enhanced Persuasion Program. The EPP was to law enforcement what NASA was to transportation. Special Agent P. Farley Foley had plagiarized the work of a husband and wife scientific research team to kickstart the EPP. Dan and Sarah Minton were wacky and weird MIT fellows who were less well known as science fiction writers. Mrs. Minton had stumbled onto the field of guided hallucinations while researching brain physiology, and she and her husband had written a science fiction novel on the subject that sold 2,000 copies. One of the 2,000 copies was purchased by a Pentagon worker who passed it around his workplace, and before long the Mintons were approached by the Department of Defense. The DoD interviewed the Mintons and funneled research grants and consulting fees in their direction. The Mintons had demonstrated religious conversions in incorrigible criminals by focusing sound waves that made it seem they originated inside the criminal's head. They projected hallucinations of Jesus and the Blessed Virgin Mary and deceased mullahs who pleaded with the interrogated party to cooperate fully with God's servants on earth. They would inflict nightmares on sleeping subjects that would stir them to scream and wince and jump out of bed. Despite their decades of consultation with law enforcement and the Defense Department, the Mintons were miffed that their ideas had never been put into practice. They had envisioned a world where torture was replaced by more sophisticated and humane techniques. But the status quo still preferred electrodes and pressure points and waterboards, even though these methods were profoundly less effective. But they are more primal, a senior justice official explained. Agents want to feel human. Frustrated by the short shrift their work had been given, the Mintons, who had both passed into their 9th decade on the planet and their 5th decade of mind control evangelicism, distributed all of their work on the internet. Most of their research was classified, and the resulting firestorm would send them to separate prisons to fritter away their final days. Special Agent P. Farley Foley had been tapped to kick-start the Enhanced Persuasion Program. In his research, he would learn that the FBI had thrice started similar programs, and each program withered on the vine. He was determined to make EPP work, and his enthusiasm was not lost on Judy Hunnsicker. Judy was able to read as much as she could about the Mintons' work on short notice. Ask questions, Bob Henderson reminded her. Ask questions. And Judy would have asked questions and not the trio of Special Agent P. Farley Foley, Special Agent Crystal Glass, and Special Agent Rasher Abdul Rasher dominated the conversation. They did not ask Judy any questions. They sat on one side of the boardroom table in the not quite elegant conference room and bragged about their program's capabilities. With remote brain scans, they could isolate terrorist inclinations and criminal tendencies in a crowded airport. They could scan a crowd of adolescents and pick out the future rapist and the future wife beater. They were getting better at spotting the future embezzlers. They could put pedophiles into remission with scripted nightmares. They could make murderers confess and persuade gangsters to rat out their gang brothers. Yes, the Mintons had left the world an impressive body of work, a good starting point. But the EPP team had expanded on their expertise, and they recruited obscure experts from a multitude of backgrounds. EPP was the future of the FBI. EPP was the future of the world. Judy thanked her host and gently shook their hands. None of them smiled or showed any expression. Her head was spinning with wonder at the scientific breakthroughs revealed to her, but her heart felt the first pangs of rejection. Yes, it had run long. That was good. But there was no questions about Judy and what she could contribute to the program. That was not quite good. On the taxi ride back to her hotel, Judy checked her personal cell. A text from Bob. How did it go? Judy didn't bother with a text response. She wanted to hear his voice. Henderson. Hello, Mr. Tango. Judy, listen. I was able to juggle my schedule. Would you like to go on a picnic this afternoon? Oh, sure. I'll have to change into picnic clothes. Good. Get changed at the hotel and then have a taxi drop you off at the Scurvy Dog miniature golf course. There was a pause. It's a video dead zone, Bob explained. It all made sense. Agents couldn't get away with much in Quantico. Bob had said that he knew the manager of the hotel and there was no way he could visit Judy there or even pick her up in the parking lot. There was a saying in the bureau, don't sneeze or fart in Quantico. Bob's caution made sense. Sorting through her clothes, Judy noticed that she had not packed anything specifically for a picnic. But she had packed her one-piece bathing suit in hopes of dipping into the hotel pool. She would slip on the swimsuit and then put slacks and blouse over it. Picnic. Judy studied her figure in the full-length bathroom mirror, and she liked what she saw. She was tall, and she had fine Nordic Irish features. She had light brown hair that she sometimes streaked and highlighted, and she admitted to herself that she looked pretty good for a woman pushing 33. If I was a leslie, I'd make love to myself, she chuckled as she pivoted and posed. Suddenly, her bureau cell chirped. It was Utah. Be in Memphis tomorrow. We'll text you the itinerary. Memphis? The biotech of unknown genesis. I know, but UV is disbanding. But we haven't officially disbanded yet. Be there. Judy phoned Bob immediately and voiced her objections to him. You got to go to Memphis, Judy. But we are obsolete. We are defunct. We are history. I know, but the Bureau can't lose face. Neither can the UV team. No one knows where this tech originated. We can't admit that, and we don't know any details. We have to look like we're on top of it. Can't you write me a note or something? I'm sorry, Judy. More sorry for myself than for you. You got to go to Memphis. They concluded their conversation, and minutes later, Judy received her itinerary. It did not look good. Judy was to fly out of D.C. and rendezvous with her team late tonight in Memphis. She immediately called Bob. Can you meet me in Memphis? Bob made a whistling noise and paused before answering. Not this time, Judy. I'll take a rain check. You got it. And I got a rain check on a picnic. Upon ending the call, Judy fell back on the bed and studied the ceiling. If I make the EPP and move to Quantico, Bob Henderson is mine.